This is just going to be another one of those videos where I sort of rant about something I've been seeing. So in the background is some gameplay from Shower with Your Dad Simulator. From my little social media vantage point, I've been seeing a lot of people who seem very concerned with the idea of status, I guess, which is quite hard to avoid on sites like Twitter. It gives you numbers, it tells you how many people are following someone, and it's very easy to look at that as a ranking beyond just that person's reach. And you get this idea of e-celebs, taken on by the people who supposedly are e-celebs and the people who view them as e-celebs. And when you get people starting to focus on that, you get tons and tons of drama. And it's not even fun, exciting drama. It is like a mire, an endless sea of petty quicksand that just seems to suck everyone I look at into it. You know that I am all for conflict and competition, but this is absolutely not what I mean. This is more of a conflict of personalities than ideas. Maybe the other people involved with this or caring about this are getting more out of it, but to me it's about as exciting as watching a contest to see who can watch paint dry for the longest. You get these little nothing conflicts amplified into these huge events just because of the popularity of the participants. You know when you're about to check out and you see the gossip mags and the headline is so-and-so said this to so-and-so, and it is just nothing. But because it's an actor or a model, people will read it. They'll even take sides and waste their valuable time on something they would otherwise have ignored if it weren't for who was involved. What I think I keep seeing on social media is miniature versions of that. If people are getting involved in the whole taking sides thing or really worrying about this kind of thing and getting a rush from it, if they get something out of it, great. But from what I've been seeing, it looks like this is a trap people just kind of find themselves falling into. And I think it's because people are putting too much value on e-celebs. This kind of thing can happen in just about any context, but here, as you may have guessed, I am talking about Gamergate. I have received private messages from people who are worried that things are flying apart or whatever, solely because, as far as I can tell, people above a certain follower count are arguing. And I get it. Last year, when I got involved with this stuff, I thought the most important thing in the world was to have names, to have people who agree with you with an audience on your side, and to keep them there. And this meant worrying about these e-celebs clashing. Oh no, so-and-so is going to drive so-and-so out. I need to be quiet or they'll leave and change their mind. I better go defend or praise them to make sure they like me. All that stuff. You must have seen people doing it, or maybe you did it yourself. In reality though, none of that is worth any of the effort or the stress. If you're getting sucked into this kind of thing and you don't enjoy it, fuck 'em. If you're on social media to have fun, drop that shit that is getting you down. Go have fun. If you're on social media for a cause like Gamergate or whatever else, realize that these people who seem like a big deal are really not that important. People who have any kind of above average platform can be useful, but I really think they should be looked at as a bonus. Everything you need to get done, everything you need to do, can be done without them. And I would say that in some cases relying on them too much is a negative. Let's take myself as a really small example. I'm not going to be bringing very many new people into this. Go ahead and prove me wrong, but I'm pretty sure almost everyone who's watching this is watching this because they ended up here because they care about things that I talk about already. I imagine to the average person, my titles are quite off-putting as well. And I think that's also the case for plenty of people who have a much larger audience than me. And this is why this obsession I've been seeing, this focus on identity coming from people who want to enact change, is so weird to me. In my eyes, all you need is numbers caring about an issue. Against a lot of problems, that's meaningless. Here, you are so lucky that that counts. And how I think you do that is present it as something that the average person will care about and force it into a position where they cannot not see it. With regard to Gamergate, people have gotten lucky in the past. Remember the comment graveyard and the mass exodus from 4chan and the DMCA claim. That stuff catches eyes. Imagine if instead of waiting for more luck, people pushed en masse until more of that happened. Forget PR and all the drama that comes with that, because I think that is where it stems from. The worry about other people thinking right, the worry about things going well with e-celebs. It all hinges really on wanting to look good. That is where the friction comes from, and that's why people waste all of their energy on that bullshit. Either trying to clean it up or resisting that cleanup. And then instead of amplifying and spreading information, you end up with e-celebs as emblems of that. And then you sort of get camps rallying behind them and you get identity stuff and blah blah blah. Instead, focus on setting fires and making explosions. Figuratively, of course, on the internet. If you want to fight for a cause and look good, You shouldn't have picked a fight with the press. If you've got people who are trying to do that, trying to look good, and that leads to them trying to affect you, you're not going to win fighting them. I think you just have to ignore it. And I think there are two ways to deal with this situation. You can rally behind an e-celeb who embodies what you want this collective to be. You know, try to have a group and an identity to push exactly what you want to be pushed. Or you can work toward becoming something that cannot be ignored and that speaks in terms everyone cares about. Do you remember when the press was constantly freaking out and looking insane as a result of their overreaction to a hashtag? Really sort of showing their hand in a freakout, rather than just casually adding it as a reference to get more clicks as they do now. It almost seems like the way it was going back then, this chaotic mass of people who fiercely disagree with one another but still come together over issues, worried them. But, as usual, that's just another one of my harmful opinions.